we got lost. I missed the 101 freeway, so finally I had to end up in downtown. And I didn't bring my phone, which has a GPS. So I used my wife's GPS. She said, right at the window, asked the bus driver, how to get to 101 North? There was no GPS. You can believe that one time she didn't know how to get back to my house in Westminster. She was on the freeway and she called her friend in Dallas. And that lady knows how to get to our house from Freeway 22. That's my wife's GPS. Okay, thank you. And right after my preaching, I have to run to another group, so please understand my busy schedule. Okay? But so glad to see you guys here today. My message I will share is a blessed life from God. Do you really want to be blessed by God? Okay. You want it? Raise your hand. Yes. And do you know how? You know how to get truly blessed? How? The Bible shows us. And wonder if any one of you can memorize Psalm chapter 1. You ever read this? Psalms chapter 1. Very well-known chapter. When I was a little child, I don't know if I was forced to memorize it. In Vietnamese, sorry. So I have to look up the Bible to read in English. Blessed is the man who doesn't walk in the counsel of the wicked, or stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. He is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither, and whatever he does prospers. See, all the wonderful principle we can learn in the 3 verses. And what I wish that when you go home, memorize it. Just 1 verse a day. And by next week, please recite to your pastor. Oh, I'm scheduled to come back next week, I think. So next week I will give you a quiz, okay? You must be able to memorize these 3 verses. This NIV, right? Version. Any one of you can read Chinese character? No? Anyone see how it look like? Look like Arabic, right? No. You know, Chinese characters are somewhat like a symbolic language. So they try to make it look like something that you can figure out. For example, the word means the mouth, look like mouth, okay? The word means a rice field, it looks like mouth, and inside they have some kind of like a plus sign that looks like a field. Okay. And the word blessing in Chinese characters, it has a 3 combination together. It has upper here, it looks like a field. Okay. It means the rice field. And down there is another word means the mouth. And on one side, it belongs to a group that they say that a set of character that means mainly means the clothing. So that's what blessing means to the Chinese. You have food to eat, you have clothes to wear, and you have some property. Rice fields are property in the old time. That is blessing. Do you still have the same concept and definition nowadays? Right? Eat from the poor to the rich. When Christ preached to the poor people long ago, he said, don't worry about tomorrow, what you will eat and what you will wear. Which means that you don't worry if you have enough food to eat or you have enough clothing to wear. Nowadays, we in this wealthy country, we ask the same thing, right? What we're going to eat, but not to gain weight. What going to wear to look like that I get the most fashion, right? same kind of question, regardless where you are or how you are, rich or poor. You ask the same question and think that that's a value system I belong to and it makes you happy. Be careful, my brother, sister. We now like the lukewarm believers. You ever read the book Crazy Love of Francis Chan? Oh, you know him, right? He has one whole chapter talk about lukewarm creatures. I recall that he said in that chapter, well, most churchgoers say that they love the Lord, but their feelings depend on what people think about them. They said that they are obedient to all commands of the Lord, but they still keep something for themselves. They don't dedicate it 100%. They think that when I go to church every Sunday, when I tithe, and once in a while I go to Wednesday evening service, that's it. That's enough. And I don't need to read the Bible, study the Bible. Because we have trained people, ready from seminary, professional preacher, to study and share the word to me. I don't need to read it. I don't study it. But you know, this is a trend that nowadays they call it functionally illiterate. You know what it means? It means that you are educated, you're professional people, you're college degree, but you're lazy to read anything else. Now tell me, when you buy some new tools, new toys that need to be assembled, how many of you would read the manual before you start doing it? Raise your hand. Huh? Just a few, all right. But most of us just try to do it until, oh, it's wrong, and then we look up at the manual. That is functionally illiterate. Very simple, right? And so, as a churchgoer, we're lazy. And that's why a lot of our church believers still running into trouble, from young to old. The statistics show that the number of teenage pregnancy inside the church and outside the church the same. The rate of divorce inside the church, outside the church the same. So one time when I still have to work to be self-supported, one of my co-workers who's from a Hindu guy from India, and he said, what's good about you, the Christians? When you have a high rate of divorce and teenage pregnancy in your church, what's good about it? I was not wise enough to give him an answer then. But now I know the answer. And you know too. So let's go back to the first word, blessed. In Hebrew language, it is a plural form. Which means that when God blesses, He's not stingy. He will not keep back. When you try to host your friend, you still have to figure out how much I spend money in this kind of economy when gas going to be $5 a gallon. So I need to think what kind of food I can serve is pretty good, but not so expensive. Practical, nothing wrong with it. But our God is a rich God. He would not say that, no, I haven't seen how much blessing He will give. So that's why in Hebrew, the word bless is in plural forms. Isn't that wonderful? And then the word God said, in order to be blessed, you should not do what are conditions that you're not supposed expect to get His blessing. Blessed is the man who does not walk. It is the Bible. Circle that verb. Does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, or stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of mockers. Now, if you read the Bible, you find this very, very distinctive, but especially in the Old Testament. The language very picturesque. It makes people can visualize something. So here we see the three verbs: walk, stand, and sit. There's a progressive action here. First, you just walk by, right? You drive by, you see a billboard today on the way. We see a lot of billboard about lap band. and I think they keep on updating and making it more attractive. A few months ago, they have picture of big fat man, look ugly. But now they change. They have a slummy lady, and the next day a slimmy lady. Looks more attractive. And they change even the wording. They have a number like what's 1877 healthy, 1800 get thin. Don't pay attention. But then you count the number of billboards on the freeway. Sometimes see what kind of attraction, what kind of temptation they want to show us. That new series they call Californication. And I think when I watch the earthquake scene on the internet or the TV, I think about our California. Everyone say that the earthquakes, big ones, be overtaken. The worst scenario is that the whole of California will be split, thrown into the sea. And what's the state next door? New Mexico will have the beach. Serious. It's been overviewed, and I think these states have seen too much. Lord is trying to be patient. Right in our San Fernando Valley, just with Silmar, is the biggest place for production of portable materials. You ever thought about it, right? Okay, so someone just walked by, hear about the council of wick in the form of materials. You ever read Dear Abby and Dear Ann Landers? Dear Abby is a column I love to read because that woman had a lot of wisdom to advise people, but then many times I was upset because she's not a true believer. She tolerates, she accepts a lot of lifestyle that the Bible calls a sin. So the counsel of the wicked can be in the forms of written material like that. We have a lot of, I saw the dress psychology book. I couldn't believe it. When the book like talk, I remember they said that if you're afraid of the height, okay, are you afraid of? I am one. I cannot plunge into a swimming pool because I'm afraid of height. And they said that to cure it, just imagine down there's 10 beautiful women like Angelina Jolie and what the heck is that? Or they talk about, to make your marriage more fun and fantasy, when you embrace your spouse, think about some wonderful, handsome man or beautiful woman. What's that? I call it dress psychology. And those are the wicked. The counsel of the wicked. In the entertainment, in the advertisement, in the written materials. Because those guys who wrote those written materials, or especially in the entertainment industry, they are not believers. They don't believe in the Word of God. They have their own ideas. And you just walk by. And then you stand in the way of them, which means you start to accept their point. And worse, sit in the seat of mockers, you take it. You practice it. You see a progress here. And God said, such kind of attitude and behavior, you don't expect to get blessing from God at all. So what is the cure? We're lucky because God does not say that do not. But He does give us the treatment. How to resolve those issues, those conflicts, those struggles in our lives. We are a minority, right? Not because you don't have white skin and blonde hair, but now you can think. It's easy. I see a lot of Asian people that have blonde hair. And they cause of whitewash. Even Michael Jackson can whitewash his skin. You laugh at it, but who knows? But more or less, we are in the process. Asian people are called banana. Yellow skin outside, but American nice white inside. I am in that process, and I'm a banana now. I have a good friend. Then Rex Silby is a great guy. He works for state convention and served as a director of department for pastoral counseling. And he said, I am from Hawaii. My origin is from Japanese, so my friend called me banana. Then I told him, but I'm married to a brown-skinned Spanish girl. So they told me, so you're a rotten banana. That's terrible. But back to what here? Well, here's the key. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and on his law, he meditates day and night. What does that mean? First of all, what is the law of the Lord? Tell me, people. You go to church, you go to study, Bible study, in Sunday school. What? Tell me. What is the law of the Lord? Tell me. What's that? The Ten Commandments? And where can you find the law of the Lord? In the Bible, right? What book? What verse? Tell me. In the Bible, easy, right? Where? What page? What verse? Okay, this is a sidetrack, but keep in mind, there are three greatest things we need to remember. Number one, what's the greatest commandment? Love and respect your God with all your mind, your heart, your soul, your strength, right? And love your neighbors like yourself. That's the greatest commandment. What is greatest commission? Matthew 28, right? Verse 19-20. Literally, you have to say that as you are going, make disciples of people. Right? And then what is the greatest strategy? Acts 1:8. Okay, those are three greatest things you need to remember if you don't remember anything from the Bible. Suppose you live in a country that wouldn't allow you to practice your faith, and they burned out the Bible. So the only verse you need to memorize is John 3:16. Those are three greatest things you need to remember. Now, the law of the Lord in the Old Testament, during a time when this psalm is written, is everything that Moses wrote. That includes the Ten Commandments. Do not do this, do not do that. And then in New Testament, what's the new law? Paul said that the Old Testament law is the writing put engraved on the stone, right? On a piece of stone. But the new law of the New Testament time is what? A law written on your heart. And here's a law of salvation. The law of unconditional love. That kind of law we need to know. We need to experience the true salvation for each of us. We need to experience and absorb the unconditional love of the Lord before you can do anything else. Otherwise, just like a part of your personality, you may become active or even hyperactive in the church just because you love to do something. And then something happened. You got argument, you fight each other, you quit, you go to another church. Is that right? Even when you dedicate your life to become a missionary, but without that kind of love, you will quit someday. The very first missionary to China is what? Not Hudson Taylor, someone else. You don't remember? I don't either because I don't have old-timer syndrome. Old time. I don't even remember my wife's name, just call her Sweetie Sue. What's his name? Who's that man? You don't remember? My mind's a little blurred now because I got lost. What's his name? Hudson Taylor. The very first American missionary to China. By the time, well, that's not important, but by the time it was about to retire, he tried to recruit young guys, young girls to replace him. He was only one question: why you want to do mission in China? A lot of good answer because a lot of Chinese not Christian, because my parents told me so, because my pastor encouraged me to do it. And he said, no, all of those sound good answers, but not the best one. The best one just because my mother teaches. The love of Christ constrains us, motivates us. That's what powers you. Not until you truly experience the love of Christ to you, if you quit. Not just about serving, even quit to be a true disciple or followers of Christ. And here say that his delights in the law of love, the law of salvation of the Lord. And on that law, he meditates day and night. It implies about the action coming out from knowledge. Otherwise, you are just a NATO. You know what NATO stands for? Our Vietnamese lexicon translated means no action, talk only. NATO. You are NATO. When you talk too much, but you don't see it in your action. That's what NATO is. Of course, you know originally it's what North Atlantic Treaty Operation, whatever. But NATO now means no action, talk only. You don't want to be that. And so, unintentionally, we are just hypocrites in the church. We talk too much. And the older you are like myself, you love to talk too long. Too bored. I hope you can say that. I start seeing someone start yawning. Make me feel sleepy here too. But hang on, I know because of the new time, new hours adjustment, you lose 1 hour sleeping. I know I'm in trouble. It's hard to wake up on time today. And then, your life change. I wish you could come to see the testimony of a man that came here in the first 2 weeks of April and who stayed with me to learn more about theology. His name is Nam Quoc Trung, but I call him Nam QT. Nam QT, now about 30-something, but he spent 16 years in drugs. In those 16 years, he in and out the jail, rehab center 14 times. And each time he got out, he got more experience as a drug addict, and then robbers, even almost murderer. He brought in a lot of misery to his own parents and his wife and his kid. Handsome man, well educated, come from rich, powerful family. It's so bad. I already sent his testament and his wife's testament. He possibly print out to people. I know your pastor won't bring him to speak on Friday, but he's been overbooked. And anyhow, I want him to spend more time with me to be trained and coached to be a true spiritual leader. If you read his testimony, he found it must be a powerful miracle from God. It's hopeless. Tens of thousands of guys and girls in Vietnam, especially the North, coming from powerful, rich family, got it. They're the one who had money to buy drugs. This guy, one time, he said it. I know it's wrong. I tried to turn to the right path, but it's hopeless. Once he even bought chains and chained himself at the window bar, but he simply carried with him a saw. After 3 days, he couldn't tolerate. He saw the chain and ran away. His wife prayed to the Buddha because she was not a believer. She said that I prayed to the Buddha that if my husband can stop that habit, I'm willing to have my life 10 years shorter. His mother is a powerful woman then. She retired. And she had the secret agent that followed her son to know exactly what happened. And she claimed that if someone can rescue my son, I will give all my possession. one time he got no money, so he came home and took his 6-month or 3-month baby out in the cold winter, ripped up all clothing to blackmail his own family people. Could you believe it? So terrible. Then finally, his solution is to switch to alcohol, kind of strong alcohol like the vodka, 3 liters a day, 3 bottles, and just make it worse. He cursed. He went to have a bad relationship with prostitute right in front of his wife. It's a hell on earth to himself and to his own significant ones in his family. Then one day, his mom bumped into a young man who's a Nam's buddy. But this time, this guy looked bright-faced, with a bright face. And his mom hate this boy because he's a Nam's buddy and keep on calling them going to spend time with drug. But this time, the guy has a bright face. And he came to tell Nam's mother, Auntie, I know you want to have your son be healed. Follow me. And so she was so curious, following him to a town church. And then they were lucky to bring Nam there. He listened to the message. And he agreed to check in a rehab center. He's in the north, the rehab center 1,000 miles away in the south. And right there, within 20 days, he read the Bible. He asked the other guys, who is the most terrible sinner in the Bible? And someone told him, David. So he studied about David. And he found out after committing the 2 terrible sins, adultery and murder, and then when he repented, he wrote Psalm 51. So Nam sat down, read, and memorized each verse, its comma, each period in that chapter. And he found his sin, his life, even more terrible than David. He said it's just like a toilet bowl. So dirty, so terrible. And after 20 days of reading Psalm 21, memorized it, he fasted and prayed. He changed so much that people around thought he's a crazy guy. And sent Terran back, called his parents, and said, this guy maybe get mad, he looks strange. And then after 6 months, he was allowed to check out. The requirement is 2 years to get clean. After 6 months, first of all, he was allowed to go back to his home to visit the second baby to be delivered. But then he was allowed again, and now he's a top leader of a project that just ministers to drug addicts. I love you to see. So I think the only chance that if you don't work and don't go to school, on the first Thursday of April, the 7th, we always have a pastor breakfast meeting, 8:30 a.m. Come to hear him and to meet with him face to face. He's the guy that has a delight in the law of the Lord and meditates day and night and be changed. That's a miracle. Last year when my wife and I came to have a mission trip in 3 different places, Taiwan, Malaysia, and Hanoi. The place that we cried the most is Hanoi. We could believe it. God's miracle so powerful. It turned around lives of those people, young people, 180 degrees. And now told me, Pastor, you must know this, that such a guy changed. This would not impact on himself, his own life, but all the clan members, not just family. When Nam was converted and changed, not only his parents, but his relatives, on both sides, himself and his wife, changed. And so now, he organized a church, a house church, in 4-story building that his mom bought and used as a place to minister the drug addicts. The drug addicts on the way to be healed, and their family members and friends. We heard their testimony. Do you want to have such kind of experience in your life? And here's the result. He is like a tree planted by streams of water. This is not a tree that you grow in the backyard and you have to water at least 3 times a week. This is not a tree you saw lined up on the street, on the freeway, that also needs someone to take care of it. This is not a tree growing wild in the jungle, in the forest, and just expects once a while the rain coming in. But this is a tree planted by stream of water. What's that stream of water? Can you imagine? We know that the water is the main source for the life of a tree. I don't talk about the exception of the cactus, but they still need some kind of water. Here's to talk about a normal tree that we see every day. It needs a regular provision of water. And the man whose delight in the law of the Lord is like a tree planted by streams of water. And the stream of water is the grace of God, the love of God, the power of God that comes from His Word. Comes from the relationship that you rather build and experience with God, with Jesus. You want to be like that. And what's the picture of that tree? 4 things. Number 1, being planted by streams of water. Regularly receive the powerful reservoir from God Himself, from Jesus. And secondly, which yields its fruit in season. What does that mean? Our lives has 4 seasons. If you are teenager or early 20, you are the spring of life, right? And then late 20, 30 something, early 40, that's the summer, right? And then 50 something like myself is the autumn. Then older, I don't know if anyone's older here, it's in the winter, right? But here what it say? The life of man, of a person is blessed like a tree that yields its fruit in season. Any time in your life, you always have the fruit of spirit, you always productive, you always have a meaningful, purposeful life, and productive to everyone around you, for your community, for your own family members. Confucius, you know this well-known guy, as an advice, as youth, stay away from temptation of physical lust. And as a grown-up, do not desire too much about making profit. And as an old man, do not crave for reputation. But I see with the advancement of medical technology and support now, you can get all those 3 temptations at any time. Even as old people, right? They got Viagra. It's terrible. I've seen in my own community, men of 70s going back there, married to girls of the 20s. It's terrible. But that advice sounds very negative. But here's a blessing from God and say that you like a tree that yields its fruit in season. Any time in your life is still very productive. For example, in my life here. Now, if you look at life as a 2 halves of a soccer game, I am probably more than half of second half. Okay. So basically, a few months ago, I sat down. I'm 58 and a half. Will be 59 in June. And I visualize, well, at most, I can have only 10 more years to serve my Lord with the same capacity, even though now physically I feel I'm 75. And I desire to do 3 things in my life. Number 1, looking for younger people who are dedicated, preferably married, because I believe married people are more responsible. And train them, mentor them to be disciple makers. That is what the Great Commission said. We misunderstood a lot about the Bible teaching and then the Lord's statement. We are instructed not to just be His witness and evangelize people and bring them to church. But what does the Great Commission say? Make disciples. And that's why we missed the target. Just cannot grow because we don't have enough dedicated, true followers of Christ. Being disciple of Christ, you need to have some kind of discipline. That's where the word comes from. And we seem that we don't have some good kind of spiritual discipline. We try to do church rather than be a church of Christ. And we do it not just by tradition, by the habit, by the legacy, as sometimes it's withdrawn. That's our problem. And that's what I visualize, I dream. The vision must come from, and I hope that my dreams are in line with God's vision for me in the next decade of my life. That's number 1. So pass my words around. And we truly want to be dedicated disciple of Christ and willing to be trained to be disciple makers. Let me know. I will squeeze my time and find some way. Now we have so much high tech. I don't need to meet you face to face often. We have Skype, right? We have video phone. We have email. We have text message. Everything in our hands to do it nowadays. Look, the first church, the first group of disciples, the first century had no high tech like we do. But there's a small group of people turn the world upside down. And now we just turn into each other into religious club. Is that great? We are on a losing ground. I just read a statistic. When we can start about like the whole country, more than 2,000 churches, we did spend 5,000. So don't be proud that we are great church of big church. Regardless of big, small, we are in a losing ground because we fail to be His dedicated disciple. That's my number 1 desire. Number 2, I will participate. I will encourage and motivate the launch of English-speaking congregation among a language group. Because here's America. The Hispanic, the Vietnamese, the Filipino, the Armenian, they need that for the younger generation. I look to the future. But because each group still have their own distinctive cultural part, I don't try to segregate or discriminate anyone. But here's the reality, right? You are Americanized, but you still eat balut. How can they mix up with the other white guy? And here's the key. You can speak English fluently, you get high degree, you merge into the life during the week with any others, right? And now we are a country like global here, right? We have different kind of people from different background, races, and I see right here. But the key question, where and with whom you want to hang around the weekend? We look for people that share the same background, right? I'm glad that here I have some non-Filipino people sitting here, but don't feel offended at what I said. But I appreciate that very much. You do have open mind and willing to mix with people who do not share the same background with you. But here, I just try to accommodate the situation in the best way so people can come to see God. When they just start as seeker, they were looking for people who share the same background as themselves. That's why I wanted it. And right now, I participate in a launch team in Fountain Valley. with the purpose of launch grand opening of a new congregation for English-speaking Vietnamese and Asian American in Little Saigon. I learned a lot of those young people, and hopefully I can work with you the same way with you. By the way, I encourage your pastor, and maybe a team here to start another church for the Filipino and Castaic. Pray about that and work with me. And my number 3, I'm reading the book with the title Halftime by Bob Burford. Great guy. And I recorded, he said that in the first half of your life, you try to accumulate a sad wisdom life experience. So in the second half, you can be even more productive by passing those to the younger generation. It's wonderful. I don't want to be like some retiree just sitting in a rocking chair waiting for death. Complaining, whining, emptiness. No, why not do that? You still can be even more productive because you're blessed by the Lord. Is a tree planted by a stream of water and yield its fruit in season, even in your autumn or winter time of your life. I met a couple got early retirement to serve the Lord in China. And they just new believers. About 10 years ago, they were the new believers. And when they heard the speaker said that if you fail to serve Him during your youth with black hair, now you have silver hair, serve Him. So they got early retirement and now very productive missionary in Harbin. I visited them one time a couple of years ago. So here I do see some people with gray hair or not truly gray hair because you dye your hair. But if we are in the autumn or winter of life, yield fruit. Okay? Joy with me. That's my number 3. Because this group of people, most, I don't know all, but most have time, have money, have life experience. That's a powerful reservoir to be tapped into the kingdom of God. So I want to meet you guys, right? To celebrate midlife celebration rather than midlife crisis. Okay. My wife, okay. And she wondered if I'm telling you the truth or just be a NATO. Now, number 1 is like a tree planted by streams of water. Number 2, yields its fruit in season. And number 3, whose leaf does not wither. On the way, I just told my wife, I read an article that the medical experts trying to study, and soon that we have kind of drugs that we last our life longer. And she says, how longer? To suffer more? Sounds so negative. No, if you live longer to serve and live healthy, why not? Right? Even life is short. You heard this philosophy statement? Some guy, probably he has constipation, said that life is like a roll of toilet paper. The more it reaches to the end, it runs faster. So my roll of paper now runs very fast. I have to take care. But you young people, time runs fast too. You think you're young? Who knows? Getting old. Here I see a lot of younger, and then you turn your old mate someday. Who knows? Quick, fast. You see, life's short. So be careful. Make sure you live like a tree planted by stream water, use the fruit season, and whose leaf does not wither. And that's what the Lord Jesus prayed for His disciples and for us. He didn't pray for us to be successful. I challenge you to find the word success in the book of God. God never wanted us to be successful because success just like the spotlight on the stage. And the spotlight for individuals, for organizations, or group people, but not bring glory to God. What God expects from us, what the Lord expects from us, be faithful and fruitful. That's what He prayed for us. He said, I pray for you so that your fruit will last. What you're going to serve and do now, but impact not just for your own generation, but for the next generation to come. That's what it means. being fruitful, not just successful. Okay? So that way you live not wither. And finally, whatever he does or she does prospers. What does it mean? Good car, beautiful home. What does it mean to be prosperous? What does it mean when the Lord himself said, I come to give my sheep life and abundant life? And lots of TV events is try to, or even ignorant or try to misunderstand it. They said abundant life includes mature life, because we're children of kings of kings, so we must get rich. And a lot of people buy in that idea, support them, and get rich for a while, then bankrupt. You see that? Here's something you need to know. In Greek, there are two words. Both can be translated as life. One word, bios, B-I-O-S, if you write it in English way, means a mature life. And from that we have the word biology. Another word, Z-O-E, Zoe, means a noble life. Jesus used the second word, not the first word. Abundant life here, being prosperous here, means you have a meaningful, purposeful life without relying too much on the material provision. In that book, there's one chapter, the book Halftime, the author said, how can you still be productive in your second half life without relying on money? Yes, we can. Bob Buffett is a dedicated Christian and very successful businessman. But he wrote that book, and 500,000 people read it. I hope sometime it go up to 5 million, the same number of people who are members of Facebook. And I tell you, I hate that guy. I never use Facebook, especially when I watch movies. You use Facebook, Twitter? I don't want to get it. I hate people when they send me email and instead of saying something for me, they said, please go to my Facebook. It's not time to get it. No, I'm sorry if I offended somebody. My son has it, my wife has it, my daughter has it, my clans has it, and I'm the exception guy. I'm a poor guy, but I don't need it. So look at God's promise. Would you come in to memorize the 3 verses so next week I come back you can recite to me? Raise your hand if you want to. Okay, great. And those who do not raise your hand, do not come back. No. No, come back. Okay, y'all come back. Now here. You know that terminology? When I first moved to Texas, I went to grocery, and after I paid the cashier, I walked about to walk. She said, y'all come back now here. And I walked back. I said, what do you want, ma'am? You know what that means? It just means see you again in Texas. But they said, y'all come back now here. So learn that when you go to Texas, you know how to behave right, okay? Back to Nam Pokcho. Now he's dedicated all his life to minister to heavens. He's crazy about the Bible. All he wants not supported to buy more Bible to hand out to the drug addicts, but that's not the experience. He got a church salary of $30, about $30 a month. But all the money people give, he buys Bible. Last Christmas, for whatever reason, he was allowed to go into a rehab center, but looked like prison in a town far away from the capital. And he joined a group they called to provide entertainment to the prisoner there, 7,000 people. And in his turn, spent 10 minutes to give testimony. 1,000 people raised their hands. And he has sent a stick in 1,000 copies of the Bible. There's a restrict list, not a piece of paper you can get in, but you stick in 1,000 copy Bible and give to those new 1,000 believers. He was allowed even to come back. and this time with our mission team to bring gift to 60 children that got AIDS. And their parents are requested. The general director of the whole camp is a woman. And she was so impressed. She knows now. This is a place of now check in and check out, and one time he even tried to, try to escape violently. He was well on everyone. And this lady now become like a modern Nicodemus. Because of her high position, he dared declare her faith. But recently now forward her email to him, saying that, now, I trust you. I believe you. Let us stand. And while you close your eyes and pray, let me read again the Word of God and use those words to pray. Pray to the Lord that, yes, Lord, I want to receive true blessing from you. I repent my sin when I walk in the counsel of the wicked, and then stand in the way of sinners, and sit in the seat of the mockers. God, forgive me. Close your eye, bow your head, and repent your sin. Remember specifically in what situation you did that. Walk in the counsel of the wicked, stand in the way of sinners, and sit in the seat of the mockers. And Lord, create, enter into the circumstances. Help me to have my delights in your law. And meditate. I commit to meditate day and night your laws, the law of salvation, the love, conditional love. And Lord, I trust in promise, because I can be a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf doesn't wither. And whatever I will do will prosper in your will, in your plan, in your vision for my life. If you're praying similar prayer like that, raise your hand with me now. I need to say the same prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we're so thankful because your simple words of life now, I hope touch us, motivate us, not just emotionally, but intellectually, psychologically, so much that we can dedicate to have some action for you. We don't want to be NATO. You love us crazily.